Back at Rogers Place in Edmonton, we wanted to come back. Come on, Billy. You know you wanted to come back.
We had to drag some people back, but I was leading.
You were leading the charge. You're a leader. You're a leader of men.
Yeah.
I love that. Leader of all people.
We made it. The NHL's been great to us
yes.
with regard to how they were traveling.
Yes.
So thankful
100%.
for that.
And the Oilers obviously are happy to be back and have a game on Friday night, Game 6. And we're talking about the Oilers after their media availability today, and you feel, and I kind of agree with you, they've kind of found their groove in this series. Everything has kind of fallen into place.
I just like their identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody talks about the Edmonton Oilers, obviously, about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and rightfully so. Okay, let's get the obvious out of the way. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But how about the fact, though, that they have now played to an identity of a complete team, a team that is getting contributions from everybody throughout the lineup. They're playing faster, and they're playing the kind of structure and style that makes them successful, right? Okay. And I just look at, for instance, what they've done with the third line in the last couple of games, the Henrique line. They've started them most every, important
last couple games,
whether it's a face-off in a certain area or to start a game or a period.
Yep.
They're out there, and they have identity from that. And then you get these other guys sprinkled throughout the lineup that are playing to their identity, not just the two big guys.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think it has really made this team more comfortable. I call it the vibe check, the eye check.
Yeah.
I just look at them now and I say, they're the Edmonton Oilers, a much more complete team than just one or two guys.
It all fits.
Yeah.
It all fits together. Connor McDavid spoke at the availability today, and he talked about, hey, our coaching staff is a really good coaching staff. They prepare us for each opponent. They give us a really good plan. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it does. And they've given them a good plan here. Obviously, Florida, very aggressive team. They have a good forecheck. The way to handle that is to stretch them out. So that's another thing that's come into play, too. They've stretched out the Florida Panthers successfully to take a little starch out of that forecheck and help the Oilers in the neutral zone going with speed and attack off the rush. And, you pointed out, too, a little bit of a line change, right, to add Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to that line with Draisaitl, taking him away from McDavid. Fogle has stepped in there, and it's given them a little more balance.
I love that move. Before, when they were down 3-0. I thought it was. We were talking about it earlier in the series about what they could do, lines, this, that, and like put RNH up there with Draisaitl because even though I think there's something going on with Leon Draisaitl.
Struggling a little bit.
Okay.
Playing well in a lot of areas, not producing as much offensively, and so give him a little help.
A little help, and also, again, it just, the eye test of their lineup now looks more complete to me.
Yeah.
Before it was top-heavy. And now you're like, all right, now we got two top lines right there, given how good RNH is, how much Ryan Nugent-Hopkins can do in so many different scenarios out there. And so I think that also gives the lineup confidence, too. Yeah. I've loved that move. Again, I like what the Henrique line's done. I mean, how do you not like what Connor Brown's been doing the last couple of games?
Didn't even start the playoffs in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. Didn't play in that first-round series against L.A., inserted it against Vancouver. And if you pick it up now, you would have never imagined that he would have never been in the lineup. He just seems like a fixture.
Yeah, I talked to him the other night post-game doing an interview, and he's very confident, but by no means cocky. I mean, very confident. He loves what he's seeing. His penalty kill, again, going back to that word identity, that's part of his identity, and he has been killing penalties, a goal and an assist on the shorthanded situation, the last two games, just tremendous stuff. And it's that depth, that balance, and that confidence that makes your lineup stronger, and it just gives it. And what about you? I know you got like somebody on the back end that has impressed you. We've talked about it.
I wanted to get to Philip Broberg because I've been really impressed with Broberg. Not to name drop, but on our flight in, I did happen to sit next to the six-time Stanley Cup winner Mark Messier, and we were talking a little bit about his former club, the Oilers, and how this edition of the team has played so well in the last couple of games. And he talked about Broberg. He was really impressed with Philip Broberg's ability to come in and play with confidence. Mm-hmm. And, I talked to, a couple of people today about Broberg. Talked to Matthias Ekholm. He just is really impressed. He said, he came into that Game 4 against Dallas. He had not played in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a must-win situation. And Ekholm said, I was really impressed by the fact he wanted the puck. He was calling for the puck. He was really, it's a new maturity, a new kind of confidence for a young player. He was the 9th overall draft pick. He's been a guy that's kind of bounced around in this organization a little bit. Kenny Holland sent him back early in the season. He wasn't playing a lot. Sent him to Bakersfield with the message of go to the American League, play the proper minutes, play the 20, 25 minutes a night, play in all situations, work on your game. He did that to his credit. He has come in here, and quite frankly, if they didn't have him in the lineup, Billy, I think this series is over because I don't think they're deep enough on defense. He has been that good, and he's been out there in some really important situations. He's just a terrific skater.
Talk about seizing the moment. And but he was ready to play in the NHL earlier this season, but there wasn't a spot
That's
for
right.
him.
They had no injuries.
And they would lose other guys if they had to send it, or at least they were fearful that they would have to, clearing waivers, etc. So, yes, to your point about what Kenny Holland had him do, go back down there, he relished that opportunity. I don't know if he liked it, but he took advantage of it. And that's the most important thing, right, for a young player, a high draft pick. Go down there, do that. So kudos to him, his people, making sure that he stays confident, making sure that he does the right thing, because it's not always easy when you know you belong at this level, but then you go back to the other one. But they did the right thing with him. He's back up. I love the fact that he can play his offside because he's doing that an awful lot. He's a lefty playing the right side.
Helping Darnell Nurse.
Helping Darnell Nurse. He's very long, right? He's, what, 6'2", 6'3", Robert? But what he is, he's smooth out there. He gaps well. He picks pucks well, off the backhand, even off the wall, off the backhand.
He's a great skater.
And the skating is the genesis for everything for him. It's the bedrock. It allows him to flow around the ice. He's not the most physical player, but your point about, and what Matthias Ekholm said about wanting the puck in game one, he is a confident player.
No question about it.
That makes a huge difference.
Hey, last thing, Billy, I just want to bring up Connor McDavid. He was here again today. And, you know, I learned a long time ago watching hockey players that the saying, still waters run deep, is really true. Because you watch Connor McDavid, he doesn't say a lot. You know, he's not animated all the time. But you can see the competitive drive. And, you know, his competitive drive, it runs deep. And when you watch him up on the podium, you know, people ask about him, like Stuart Skinner was talking about him, and he was complimenting him, and Connor just puts his head down because that's who he is. But his leadership in this series and throughout the playoffs, he has really matured, and wow, this has been something special to watch.
It has. I mean, he is you know, the ultimate player in our sport. There's some other unbelievable players, but we all know he's
at the top.
He's at the top of all of them. And after a couple of games where he was really sealed well, he was defended against beautifully, kind of a low-high defense, swarmed, whatever you want to call it, by the Florida Panthers. Along with his teammates, they figured out how to create more open ice and more speed with the puck on his stick.
Yes,
that's
through the neutral zone.
See, I don't see this team being a team that just dumps it out and he chases it down. He wants it on his stick through the neutral zone. We've done it. I mean, that play where he undressed 2 or 3 Florida Panthers and ends up passing over to Corey Perry. Just phenomenal. The play of the playoffs.
It really reminded me of when Mario Lemieux went through the Minnesota North Stars back in the early 90s and scored that goal. In this case, McDavid passed it, and Corey Perry put it in the net. So McDavid has been terrific.
He's making his moment, man. That's what he's doing.
It's going to be fun Friday night in this building.
It's going to be phenomenal. This would be phenomenal to hang out in this area in the building, too.
Why not?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be back Friday, game number 6.